Hey, how about this as a way to start speculation? Here's a photo of LeBron James at the Cavaliers practice facility posted on X on Friday. Now, look, he's re-upped with the Lakers, but still, he responded to the speculation tweeting, and every summer since it was built, I live here still and train every summer. Y'all bored, man. Go get a plate of food somewhere and enjoy the 4th of July. You know what? Thanks, LeBron. I am hungry. For more speculation, that was cheesy, but Bobby Marks isn't, our ESPN NBA front office insider, to help sort through all of this. So, Bobby, look, there's a lot of talk about LeBron's future with the Lakers after Rich Paul's cryptic statement about James wanting to compete for championships, but knowing the Lakers are looking to the future. So, what are the chances that he could be on the move this summer?
Well, I think that depends on what LeBron James wants, right? He's one of two players to have a no-trade clause in his contract. Bradley Beal is the other one, and LeBron James dictates as far as what his future is going to hold as far as in a Los Angeles Lakers uniform. Brian, it's complicated, though. He's got $53 million. He's on an expiring contract. I talked to a couple teams during the week when that cryptic message came out, and they said, although he is a great player, it's bad business breaking up your roster when you're looking at trading 3 or 4 players for LeBron James for just 1 year here. So I do think he will be in a Laker uniform when we get to training camp. You never say never here, but certainly things are not looking as promising as they once did in Los Angeles.
And here's the thing, by the way. I mean, he's playing for the Lakers, and there are still a lot of free agents out there, some difference makers out there who could maybe help LeBron and the Lakers. So who are your top guys available of the free agent class?
Yeah, the first two are certainly I don't want to call them senior citizens, but they're certainly the older of the free agents here. I think it starts with Chris Paul, the 40-year-old, just finished a year in San Antonio, played all 82 games. And also started 82 games, averaged north of 7 assists per game here. I think he would be a perfect fit for a team like the Milwaukee Bucks, who are in a dire need of a point guard. The next is certainly Al Horford, the 39-year-old former NBA world champion. Here's a player that's averaged at least 6 rebounds per game in his career. Keep an eye on a team like possibly the Golden State Warriors. They need front court depth. Horford would be a perfect fit in Golden State. And then, of course, the group of 4, I call them. This is the restricted free agent group. Josh Giddey, Jonathan Kuminga, Quentin Grimes, Cam Thomas. Those players should be off the board, but they are restricted free agents. Their team has the right to match on any offer sheet. The market has dried up with cap space. There is no money out there for a team to give an offer sheet. So we'll see what happens with the future of those 4 players.
Every single one of those guys on that list could help a contender. We'll see if any of them are on the move, but those restricted guys, they're tough to move. So we'll see what happens with all this. Bobby, thank you so much for joining us on this 4th of July.
Since then, the Bucks have made several big moves, including signing Miles Turner and waiving Damian Lillard in hopes of keeping their star player around, but it's still unclear whether it's going to be enough. All right, David, it's the 4th of July. We're leaning into who should want independence from the team. We love a good theme here on First Take. Who wants independence more? Is it Giannis from the Bucks or LeBron from the Lakers?
I think it's LeBron from the Lakers. Like, if Giannis wanted to leave, right, he would have done that. He would have told them at the beginning of the offseason, I don't want to be here. I want to go somewhere else. Like, let's manufacture this trade and let's figure this thing out. I am still of the belief that he has some hand in this Miles Turner thing. Giannis and the Bucks are just looking for reasons to stay together, right? Giannis wants to be in Milwaukee. He does not want to go anywhere. He, thinks it's a good part of his legacy to be with one team. That's one thing that, a lot of his peers do not have. He wants to do this, right? And so they are grasping at straws to find a situation where he feels like it is worth it to stay with Milwaukee. LeBron James, on the other hand, wants some sort of independence from this team, and it's clear from what he said. But the problem is LeBron also wants $52.5 million. So you have to thread that needle where he wants that money, but he also wants to have some sort of control over these last 2 years of his career. And I think that's really what it's about. The control that he can have over these next 2 years. What makes it difficult, though, is because he's just in this 1 year and it's not his team anymore. The leverage is not there. But if it was between the two, I would say LeBron is the person who wants to dictate his future wherever he wants to go more than Giannis.
And it still is Giannis's team, right? Like, they're making all these moves to sweeten the pot so he'll want to stay. Just like you said, we'd like to hear from LeBron. I would like Giannis to come back from his European vacation so we can hear from him about everything that's happened, the Miles Turner move, the Damian Lillard being waived. We go through this every offseason, though.
Yeah.
There's a GQ article probably waiting to be dropped right now where Giannis ponders his future in Milwaukee and the thought of winning a championship and being on the other side of 30. Can you tell me that this roster right now, Miles Turner, Gary Harris, they move on from Pat Connaughton, they send him in a trade, no more Brook Lopez. Like, is this roster and no better in the backcourt than they were before Damian Lillard got injured? How could this roster possibly be better now to contend for a championship in the East when teams like Atlanta, teams like Orlando have continually escalated, and the Bucks kind of feel like they're stuck in no man's land, 8th or 9th?
Well, it's kind of two different things, though, right? Because, like, one thing is how close are the Bucks to a championship than they were last year? Not any closer. They're a worse team than they were last year, and I think it's hard to argue against that, right? But the other thing that's on the other side of this is how close are they to keeping Giannis, which I think is their main goal. Their main goal is convincing Giannis to stay, whether that puts them closer to a championship or not. They are all in on the Giannis thing. I've been of the belief that it's been best for both of them to move on, for the Bucks to maximize what they can get for Giannis, and Giannis to maximize what he can at a championship contender. Because I want to see Giannis in a championship contender. I always want to see a top 3 player in the league competing for a championship. But if he wants to stay with Milwaukee and they feel like they've done enough to keep him and they want him to stay there, that to me is more important than what it is to actually get them closer to a championship.
I still think he's going somewhere else. We have heard rumored for a while it's going to be somewhere in the Eastern Conference. Tell me that him in Miami isn't intriguing. Giannis wanting independence from Milwaukee, staying in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks don't feel like an option anymore. That feels like that ship passed. I think Giannis in Miami would probably be the best spot for someone who probably wants to win a championship. He's on the other side of 30. He knows that his time is still limited to do this. Where are you at? Like, you siding with me on here on this Giannis one, or do you think it's LeBron who wants independence? Because what you said is that Luka's the one who has the most to prove for the Lakers this year. Having said that, is LeBron's best chance if he really wants a championship somewhere else?
Well, a couple things. One, I don't think Miami would be the option I would choose if I was Giannis Antetokounmpo and I was looking at my options, given they just finished, I believe, 10th in the Eastern Conference last year and then lost by about 1 trillion points
No
to the
state
Cavs.
Income tax. The team would be built around him, but
well,
I digress.
That's fine. They still aren't very close to winning. And to me, this question is very simple. One of these two players has not said he is considering actually leaving his team publicly, right? I'm not disputing Shams' reporting, but Giannis hasn't said anything. The other guy has an agent in Rich Paul who said 5 days ago when he opted into his contract, we're evaluating our options. So to me, if does one guy want to leave or does the other guy want to leave? One guy has said, I'm thinking about leaving, and the other guy hasn't. So to me, this is a very simple choice. I would like to agree with you, but I have to agree with David. LeBron James has publicly said through his agent, I am evaluating my options to have the best chance to win a championship going forward. That is very clearly deciding what it is you want to do. Now, we can debate the merits of how insane that is to opt into your contract when you could be a free agent and have the ability to choose any of the 30 teams and then say, well, I want to take my money and then see if I can potentially go somewhere else. But he has said that. And while, yes, it would be nice if Giannis came out and said that the Miles Turner signing is the greatest signing in the history of signings and that he wants to stay in Milwaukee, he also doesn't have to do that. He's under contract. There's no reason for him to come out and say that. And to David's point, we don't know if he has been discussing that with the Bucks and has teamed up with them in terms of saying, hey, I'd love to have Miles Turner there. But we also didn't have that with LeBron James. If LeBron James on Sunday didn't have his agent say, or his agent didn't just say, hey, we're evaluating our options, deciding what we would be doing, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We're only having it because LeBron and his agent have created this discussion over the past week. So, again, if you ask which one wants independence more, one of them has openly said, I'm thinking about it. So I'm going with that guy.
All right.